welcome. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. We're just going to gather some supplies, some curved shears, some pins, my hemostats, some scissors, fabric, and for this particular design, 4 pieces of stabilizer. Hoop 1 is your bunny tail and your ears. That's your tail, those are your ears. You'll want to take 2 pieces of fabric or 1 piece of fabric, pretty sides together over your tail placement stitch. Now it's time for your ears. You want to take your inner fabric for your ears, pretty side facing up over the placement stitch, and the outer fabric for your ears, pretty side down over the placement stitch. If you're doing any of the other ball animals' ears, pretty much the same thing if you want an inner and outer ear. Hoop 1 is complete. You can remove it and set it aside. I do fast forward through a bunch of the steps so that the tutorial isn't so long. I promise I do not hoop this quickly. Hoop 2. So we have our feet and our hands. I do have the tack downs in 2 steps, so if you wanted separate fabrics, but for me, I wanted 1 piece of fabric. I place my fabric together, pretty sides together, over both my hands and my feet. And I will run both steps 2 and 3 for the tack downs. Our feet are done, the hands are done. Yay! We can remove that from hoop. Set it aside, restabilize. Hoop 3. Step 1 is an outline on your stabilizer to show you where to place your fabric. This is going to be the front of your ball animal. This will be where the face goes. Step 2 on all of the ball animals for this particular hoop is going to be a tack down of the same exact stitch, just so you know where your outline is. Step 3 is going to be your placement stitch for your face. You want to put your fabric pretty side up, and if you have a direction on your fabric, like I do here, you'll want to see which direction it's going. We have tacked down the face, and now it's time to zoom through, trimming around the excess fabric. I would not rush this if I were you, but I want this video not to be too long, so I did a nice little speed through. Fun little nifty tool using the sticky roller I got from the dollar store. I like this clear water-soluble stabilizer on top. I use masking tape to tape it in place. All the next steps are going to be all your face features, your eyelashes, your nose, your mouth, your whiskers, etc. So we're going to go ahead and run all that all at once. While it does that, we're going to rush through. We're going to pull all the stabilizer off of our ears, our tail, cut around everything. If you have sharp corners on any of these extra pieces, you'll want to make little snippets towards them, but make sure not to cut the actual threads themselves. For the feet and the arms, you can actually see how the feet are fatter and the arms are smaller. Okay, so our facial features and everything was stitched out beautifully. You can take all your extra pieces from hoop 1 and 2 and lay them out how you want them to look. My fabric I used is very colorful, so I'm just choosing which side I actually want to be up or down. This is how I kind of want it to look. And you can set those aside. The first thing we're going to do is apparently remove all my stabilizer. That's okay. Okay, so you're going to take your foot and you're going to flip it up over the face and your placement stitch, and it's going to tack down that foot. And it'll tack down all of your extra pieces in a counterclockwise motion, depending upon your machine, of course. Now my ears here, I like them folded in, and you have a choice of having them flat or tucking them in. If you do tuck them in, I suggest using either hand stitching it down or using a sewing machine. I used a sewing machine to tack them down how I wanted them to look. This will also help them stand up more straight. We have that ear tacked down. When you put on the other ear, you want to make sure it's pretty symmetrical to the first tacked down ear. Remember to go for the smaller piece for your arm. Now watch out, if you do have any limbs in the way, such as the ears, you want to take them out of the way. I used my Scotch tape and it did not want to hold on this really slick fabric. So I went with the masking tape, which worked a lot better. Yay! These are going to be your side panels. You want to make sure that it'll cover the whole corner there. So you're going to put your fabric pretty face down and run the tack down. Then you're going to trim the excess fabric away on the tip of your ball, on the outside of it. So now that it's been tacked down and trimmed, we're going to flip that piece over and it's going to do another tack down on the outside. There we go. Don't worry about the excess fabric. There's going to be markers on top so that it moves your needle around the actual design so it doesn't get caught on anything. It's time to tack down the other side now. Once again, you want to trim the excess fabric. These shears are starting to get a little dull. Flip your fabric over and run the extra tack down on that corner. Yay, we're getting there. It's time to add on our 2 side panels, which will be right along those placement stitches. Those side panels need to be the same size as your hoop, pretty side down. Now tacked it along the top, and you want to flip that fabric up and make sure all excess limbs are out of the way of that bottom stitch right there I just pointed to. Put your second panel down, pretty side down. There we go, beautiful. So now you have these 2 side pieces right here. And the bunny is on the inside. Remove from hoop and restabilize your hoop for the last hooping, hoop 4 for this bunny. Okay, I tear off all my stabilizer and I am going to cut the excess fabric away just around the bunny's face. That's really important. You want to make sure that those side panels are left alone, but you can cut off the excess around what's already been stitched. The bunny's face has been stitched. So just around that, leave the panels, and I'll show you here exactly where I go. So I hold those out of the way so I know I'm not going to cut them, and I cut just around what's already been stitched down. This will help eliminate a lot of the bulk. So I flip my panels over and I cut around the other side. So my panels are free and trimmed around. Again, I'm not going this fast, you guys. I'm just speeding along the video. Take your time. The fourth hoop, once again, you have a placement stitch and you want to put your fabric pretty side up. Then you're going to notice that there's an arrow right there. That's important. That's one of our key steps to this. Here is an optimal place to add any personalization you might like, monogram, or any message you might want to put. Uh-oh, I forgot to show you the placement of the tail. Sorry. Just add any personalization before the tack down of the tail. The point of the arrow is to show you which way your face is going to be pointing. So the face is pointing up. Take your face and fold it in half and take a piece of tape to hold it in place. Unfortunately, this piece of tape is not going to last me. I've used it a couple times already. You want to match up the corner of the face, there's a corner on it, to the corner on your hoop that's been tacked down and outlined. I use pins to hold this in place because it is rather bulky and I don't want it shifting in my hoop. I do take my time on this last part. If you want it to come out really good, you want to make sure that those corners are matching up really well. And you can turn it over to make sure the pins are nowhere near that tack down stitch. So my corners are good and I have it pinned down for this tack down. There it is. Beautiful. You can safely remove the pins on the bottom if you chose to use them, and flip your face over. Make sure all your limbs are tucked inside. You do not want them anywhere near that outline stitch there. And smooth your fabric. It's going to stitch around and leave an opening right along the top. There we go. Yay, we're almost done. I'm going to speed on through all this. I'm going to remove all of that extra stabilizer. Some people leave it in. Cut around the excess fabric. Make sure you leave some around that opening area. I actually hold it out of the way while I cut the rest. And you should have 4 total panels on this ball. Turn it right side out. You can get rid of any excess stabilizer, trim any excess threads that didn't trim all the way if you have an embroidery machine that trims your threads. And we can go ahead and stuff it full of polyfill, or your choice of stuffing, really. Okay, you're going to want to use a ladder stitch there and squeeze it, roll it around, make it so that the polyfill fluffs it out how you want, and you have an adorable, cute little bunny. We have a cute chick and lamb also. They're so much fun. Thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed our video. Bye!